Hello, people. It's your boy Osman back again with another Manchester United podcast. As you can see from the title, it's somewhat contradicting the thumbnail, but please just bear with me. When we made the thumbnail, it was a couple of days ago. And since the thumbnail was made, it does somewhat seem like Zidane has rejected Manchester United and Brendan Rodgers is potentially in pole position to take the job. Of course, we will be discussing that further on the show with the guests, alongside other things such as the Watford game, such as the news regarding Van der Beek. Is he finally going to get minutes? And we'll have to obviously discuss that as well. Alongside Martial and Lingard exit rumours, there's a lot to discuss. Strap in, drop a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, follow myself and the guys' socials down below. But listen, if I can flip it fine, I'm going to play the intro now. Strap yourselves in. It's going to be an absolute banger. Let's go.
United.
Yes, the panel is ready. A lot to discuss. High energy. I was saying prior to the show, I'm dreading the show. I ain't going to lie to you guys. Not because I don't love doing the show, but because we have to talk Manchester United. It's been absolutely beautiful just to take the piss out of the England players, thinking, one of these ones and all that good stuff. We will get into Captain Fantastic Maguire at some point. Man's on fire, 2-2. One of the best centre-backs around, you'd think. Obviously answering the critics and all that good stuff. But listen, without further ado, first and foremost, to introduce my co-host, as always, Jerry is in the building. Jerry, how you doing, bro?
Yeah, what's good, man? Like I said before we went live, we're back to normal proceedings, man. I'm actually excited, which is a bit,
Jeez, one's excited,
Yeah, man. Like, international football for me is just it feels like the world just stops when international football is just on, and it feels weird. But I'm ready to get back into Premier League action. So yeah, man, should be a good one still.
Fair, man. I'm intrigued to hear what you're excited about because I definitely don't feel or share that sentiment, should we say. But listen, it's been an absolute pleasure to share the spaces with this fellow brother. Very knowledgeable on football in general. But for the first time, he's on the podcast. We got the homie Najee in the building,
King.
Bro. How you doing?
I'm good, brother. Thanks for having me on, man.
Yeah, absolute pleasure, man. Thank you for coming through. Obviously, we were going to do the show last week to discuss the Glazers out movement. We will still be discussing at the end of the show, as I said in the intro, so please do stay tuned for that. We're going to continue to speak out regarding the utter nonsense, which is the board. I'm sure all my United fans will agree on that. But yeah, as I've already tweeted out or even put in the chat, obviously drop a like, subscribe to the channel, get your comments in. The aim of the podcast, we're trying to be as interactive as we possibly can. The only way I can do that is if you keep getting your questions in, get your comments in. Speaking of which, later again, the Kojo Shahid. I'm Pakistani, you should know this. This is in our DNA. You know what I'm saying? This is basically ingrained in our DNA. So, come on, bro, you should know better. But come on, but it is what it is. Shout out to Ty, always showing love. Hold tight. The man there, Van der Beek. Time to get minutes. Potentially, we will get onto that very shortly. Shout out to James Maguire, found his level. I mean, oh my God. We might have to. In fact, someone got the show on in the background because there's a bit of echo there. I'm not going to lie.
I've just whacked it down, yeah, man. I've just turned it down.
It's all right.
What a debut. What a debut. Messing up the show.
It's all good. But I've got the show as well, but thankfully it's mute this time. Conrad in the building. Big up Usman on the panel. Love to see it. Yes, guys, love that. But listen, keep getting your thoughts in. Akil straight in there with a paragraph. I love Akil, you're an absolute legend. You always pull out the quotes and all that, so keep doing your thing. All these Van der Beek talks are only because Ollie's under pressure. If he starts, it's because McTominay is not fully fit. We will be touching on that. We got a lot to discuss. I don't really know where to start, but I think I'm going to start. You know what? Should we just start with the international recap, just very briefly? Not in terms of the games, because I couldn't give two shits. But about the Man United players. One player in particular, Mr. answering his critics himself, Captain Fantastic, Harry Maguire 2 exquisite goals against the mighty Albanian San Marino. Shout out to the man there from those ends. Noah, we'll start with you, Najee, man. What did you make of Maguire, man? That guy. Answer
No,
the
don't worry,
kitchen. What's up, bro?
You know what? Yeah, you picked a great time to have me on the show. You know, a great time because for me, I can't even talk about this guy no more. I mean, I'll be honest. I've been strong on the idea that he's not been good enough since we signed him. When he had an amazing Euros, I feel like for me, just the way I watch football, I don't really follow hype. I like to get my own feelings and my own ideas of a player. I realized a lot of his weaknesses, which are quite evident to see in terms of his physical ability and capabilities on the pitch. That is obviously with his agility, his speed on the basic level. And I thought, well, how does England compensate for a Harry Maguire as such? Again, it was a back five. I realised that I know Harry Maguire does like to start to come from back to front and take the ball from behind his strikers. And I really rated that about his game. But for me, when I picture him in a back four, I think if he's going to do that and he's going to get spun, we're going to be left with one centre-back. And the more we want to play attacking football, the more I can see him getting more exposed. Again, just regarding the game in England, I respect it for England. I feel like he needed a boost of confidence wherever he found that from. Do I rate his celebration? No. I think it's a bit childish. And then the fact he didn't even back it as well. Like, my man did this, yeah. Got to the interview and was like, I just slid on my knees. Like, I was like, come on, bro. Like, what do you mean? Say with chess what you were doing. It's like to say, you know what I mean? I had to let people know that I'm not messing around. Even something like that would just have been like, you know what, fair play. The man just came out all wet and lettuced, and it just wasn't great, man. So that speaks of his mindset and his mentality. But without going too deep for it, I'm happy for him if he feels great. But it hasn't changed my mind in terms of him not being good enough for Manchester United or to wear the captaincy armband on his arm.
Yeah, I mean, I think that sort of point that you've just said there, I think for me sums up Manchester United Football Club in terms of our captain hasn't got, you know, the ability to come and back it and save a chest. Bro, you tried the celebration twice. If you watch it back the first time, he was just before he went to the knee side, he put his thing and he's like, oh shit, let me slide first, then did it. So man fully thought about it. It wasn't like, it was a spur of the moment, cupped his ears a whole lot. And like he said, if you're not going to come out and back it and save a chest, yo, obviously I've been getting a lot of criticism, X, Y, and Z, whatever he feels isn't deemed criticism, for him to do that celebration. And for me personally, it's nothing short of embarrassing. That's the only word I can use for it. At the end of the day, you're Manchester United captain. I can't even comprehend Valencia doing that. I'm not going to sit here and say Roy Keane and people like that. Valencia wouldn't even do that shit if he scored for fucking Ecuador. I think he is Ecuadorian. Yeah, he wouldn't do that. Like, Valencia wouldn't do that. Gary Neville, obviously, I don't like him. He wouldn't do that shit. We know that. You can go through a list of not so brilliant players who are Manchester United captains, and they wouldn't do that shit. This guy's the most embarrassing captain we've ever had. The fact that after the games and we've lost 5-0 to Liverpool, and he's come out and said, oh, I don't really want to be here. Like, come on, bro. Like, this guy's embarrassing. Jerry, what are your thoughts? Like, first time he goes to England after a very rough period at Man United. Not just for him, but obviously a lot of the players. And he tries to take a dig. I don't know if it's at the fans, at the journalists. Obviously, we haven't had any clarity. What did you make of the whole situation?
I found it funny, man, to be honest. Like, I remember, I think I was on another stream, and then I had the game in the background, and then I said, oh, yeah, Maguire scored. I think I was on your stream.
It was I'm pretty sure it was.
Yeah. And then I was thinking, right, like, I was like, okay, Maguire scored. He needed that because he's been having a poor run of form lately. And then I saw him do the celebration. I was thinking, wait, hold on. What's he doing here? He does the cupping, then he does the close of the ears. I'm thinking, wait, hold on. Bro, you're taking the piss, like, literally. You
see, like, proper ballers doing that celebration. Like,
exactly,
proper,
like
big time ballers and that. And then Maguire, good.
I was thinking, he probably thought about the celebration for a time, man. I know, obviously, the abuse he gets under the criticism, rightly so with the criticism. Obviously, abuse we don't like that. But when he did, I thought, yeah, man, this guy, you've just triggered a lot of fans by doing that. Like, and it's not like you scored against France or Spain or Italy. You scored against
some dead team.
Like, come on, man. And like you not said, yeah, he lacks the character and the personality to even admit it after the interview. Like, they asked him straight, like, who was that for? And he said, No, I've just slid, and it's just a celebration. It's not aimed at anyone. Like, why are you pussying up for? I don't understand, bro. Like, if he said it like that,
Oh my God.
you said it with chest.
This
I'd be like,
guy,
actually,
man.
maybe Albania, yeah, it's not the biggest team, but I understand that you feel a type of way, and you wanna correct your form and that. So when he pussied, I was thinking, this guy can't. Manchester United captain.
But it does that weekly though. He pushes like every single challenge he can possibly do, unless it's on Luke Shaw. That's the only time he's aggressive. So like,
it doesn't correlate.
What do you expect from him?
It doesn't correlate with him and Maguire as a player. I mean, I can't lie. When we first signed him, obviously the price was a bit mad, but I thought because at Leicester he was a decent centre back, and I thought we needed a centre back at the time. So, and he started well, man. And then when you see his flaws and his weaknesses, like the obvious one is that 1v1 and his slowness. To
You know what's mad for me? Yeah, when I was watching my man, I was getting can't say I was getting abused because no one can abuse me like that, but people were making their feelings known that I was chatting absolute breeze about Maguire. Yeah, because as I said, I don't follow trends in it. I just go off what I feel, what I appreciate in football. So when I was seeing him come into United, I was not gassed. I was not gassed, and I've never thought he wasn't. Well, I'll be honest. I'll switch it. I thought he was good, but I never thought he was world class. I had a problem with people. I had a big issue with people saying he was world class.
Nah, that's cap.
Based off hype, and I was like, "What do you mean he's world class? In what area? He's top 5 this year." I was like, "No, he's not. He really isn't." But again, I think if you think about it, Maguire got his hype based off, and I'm sorry to be so blunt, but he got his hype based off using his head to score goals in England when all the drunk fans were all gassed. He won bare people bets, people putting tenors and 15 quid for him to score with his head. He was getting gassed. You seen the picture of him leaning up with the woman or wherever it is, chatting as if like he's doing a madness, like he can trips. You can see it, in my opinion, and part of the blame for me goes to the British media and the fan base where we overhype our players.
You do all the time.
And I feel like Maguire's taken ownership of that hype. I generally think he's read into a lot of the hype because it shows in his character. He thinks he's better than what he is. The best way I can describe it is like, remember X Factor and them ones and American Idol, And you get the guy who walks in, thinks he's sick, Let's say you two the judges. I walk in, you go, have you got the X Factor? I'm like, yeah, I'm good, I'm good. Are you sure? And I'm like, yeah, I'm serious. I'm winning this. It's mine, And then I start opening my vocal cords, and I haven't got the minerals for it, Like I can't back it really, and I'm still going with full chest. And then you man say no, get out, and I look at you. I have to go call my family. And my family coming back and go, yeah, they're sick. And then you have to tell my family that you're the reason he thinks he's sick. He's not sick. Stop gassing him up.
It's so true, man. Like
that's how I feel it is, bro.
It's just got to his head. I mean, that happens with a lot of players, man. I'm seeing like loads of people getting gassed about. Again, I don't want to make it about other teams, but like Smith Rowe, for example, I rate him as well. But I'm hearing people say he's worth 80 million apparently after like 3-4 goals. I don't want to name any names, but I've seen a lot.
After the show, I need to chat to them.
I mean, he's one of the homies anyway, so it's not like it's deep. But that's how it is in British media. They overhype every single player. The fact that people actually genuinely think Maguire's good because he has a couple of decent games for England, and the reason there's 2 reasons. One reason is, as someone put in the comment, Shahid, shout out to you. He's babied by Declan Rice in particular, alongside Phillips when he's playing. And the second reason is the quality at international football is nowhere near the quality in the Premier League or league in general. So this notion that, he's good for England, it must be... Obviously, I'm not saying it's not Ollie's fault. It may be facets that is Ollie's fault. But in Ollie's defence, bro, just because you're good at international, you don't make you a good footballer. Because at the end of the day, the levels are far and few between. So for me, people just read too much into it. So speaking of reading too much into it, I just want to quickly brush up past this. But Jerry, will come to you. I think it was like Bunlaw, if I'm not mistaken, said that Roy Keane has been bullying Maguire.
Oh, God, don't get me started on that guy, man.
So what are your thoughts on that?
Bro, when did he become like a pundit? Like, he's speaking a lot lately. Like, what do you mean bullying? Like, what? So, it hurts my head when he's bullying because what? That's a real Man United captain. He has every right to, criticize. That's what he's paid to do, unlike certain man like Gary Neville, just backing the thing blindlessly, if that's a word. Blindlessly, yeah.
I'll take it.
Yeah, man. That is too like where has the game gone, man? Everyone's too soft nowadays. Like, what? Because he's had a few bad performances and we're calling it out. Now it's bullying. Like, but when there's certain players like Pogba or even Lindelof when he's got stick, no one said it was bullying. They just brushed it to the side. But like you said, English bias. Any little thing, they just blow it up to the world, and
True.
it's like, bro, you're the United captain. You got bought for 80 million. Come on, this is expected, bro. If your performances ain't up to scratch, well, what do you expect us to just sit and be quiet about it? Like, come on, man. It's just like the standards of United just dropped so low. It's actually sad. Like, Bono even saying that, I'm sure he regrets it, bro. Because come on, man, he's played against United teams in the past. Like, if someone's not performing, we'll know about it. And Maguire, for his price tag, captain, he's just poor, bro. So I don't agree with that at all.
What are your thoughts on that, Najee? Like, do you think Roy Keane overstepped the mark? Because some of the stuff that he says just, man, is aggressive. Like, but I love it, obviously, personally. But where do you sit on the whole thing?
Straight, bro.
I think when you take the emotion out of it, I just listen to what he's saying. One thing I wrote about Roy Keane is always consistent. Can he sometimes go slightly over the edge because it's based on the emotional reaction? Yeah, maybe that's the captain. The footballer still inside him, not the pundit. But when I look at the message and what he's actually saying, he's criticizing him as an individual because his performances have been crap. And let's be honest, 90% of United fan base felt a type of way when he did that celebration. Now, whether it was aimed at United fans criticizing him or fans saying he shouldn't be in the England team, let's be honest, those are honest educational facts that you shouldn't be. You're not performing. So he's clearly shown, and again, he didn't back himself in interview, so we're left to assume, and rightly so, I think, we're left to assume that he thought that header makes up against San Marino. He thinks it makes up, for all the defensive deficiencies and all the mistakes he's been making, in my opinion, for 2.5 years. So, with the greatest of respect, if Roy Keane's preing it going, nah, but you're embarrassing, because that's the first thing that come to my mind. I felt like Roy Keane was speaking for me. And I'm a fan, so if I was in the stadium, I'd be saying the same thing. So, again, I think when you criticize a player for what's going on the pitch, that's no problem. What I have an issue with, and again, Jerry said it very well regarding Pogba and Martial to a degree. You've got pundits like Graham Sowan, Uncle Sourness, and sewage, whatever you want to Sourness, all of that. You got them type of punditries there where they're not talking about his football, they're talking about Pogba's football. Talk about his hair, talk about him dancing, criticizing his free time, what he wants to do in his free time, and going in with the same heat as Roy Keane. So I look at context and go, well, Roy Keane's got context because clearly he's talking football. Has Maguire been underperforming? Yes. I mean, I would argue he's been underperforming for a longer time, but that's based on preference. So we're not going to go that deep. But we can at least say in the last 6-7 months he's been awful, and that's a fair criticism of the man. So he's a Man United captain. He's seen him as a captain. He knows the standard. So I look at Roy Keane and go, let's say the cameras weren't on him and Sky Sports weren't there and he was sitting in that changing room. I've got no doubt that he would say exactly what he's just said in that changing room. That's Roy Keane. So it's not bullying, but again, when people who call it bullying or want to pull out the victim card, as I like to say, that again shows me the British bias. That's what they're showing me: British bias and favoritism. And yeah, be loyal, back your own, your own nation, but don't do it blindly because you look stupid. Don't make sense to me.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. I think for me, Roy Keane was speaking like a fan. I mean, he was hurt by the performances that have come from my United perspective, from a Man United fan's perspective. Obviously, the Leicester game was shocking. I mean, Maguire was rushed back for that game. He was literally culpable for 75% of the goals that we conceded on the game. You can watch the replays. 3 out of the 4 goals are 100% Maguire's fault. The guy is chasing shadows and fighting his own players half the time. Obviously, the Liverpool game's a shambles, as is the City game where we're chasing shadows. And I think for him to have that sort of reaction and for the media, i.e. Al-Bullaho, to then basically come to his defence. I'm not saying Keane should be so harsh with his words, etc., because it's live TV or whatever. And not that I personally think it's that big of a deal, but this generation, as someone said in the comments, is very soft. It's become really soft. And I feel like that is the wider issue with the generation. You can't take criticism. And if I was in Maguire's shoe, me personally, and Keane said that about me, okay, I mean, I wouldn't do the celebration, but if Keane did say that about me, I would own it. At the end of the day, he should be coming out and saying, you know what, I don't agree with the way he said it, but at the same time, you know, he's right to criticise me. The performances that I've put in have not been good enough. You're a defender. We've not kept a clean sheet in 20 games, my brother. So how can you go around and do one of these ones where we've not kept a clean sheet in 20 games? Your job is to keep a fucking clean sheet, bro. We didn't keep a look at it. Look at the teams we played against, bro.
Love it.
Bro, we didn't keep a clean sheet against young boys. This guy was chasing shadows in that game as well. Like, the guy's got no shame. Like,
no, he thinks he's sick, man. He's just not sick. He thinks he's sick.
Man said no clean sheets in 20 games. But you what? Mate? You what?
Nah, he's showing
against Albania when it matters. Back to back like Drake against San Marino as well. You get me. Listen, when he scored against San Marino, he didn't even celebrate. He thought, "No, I'm the shit now. I'm the shit."
Did you see what he did? What did he do? When he scored against San Marino last game, bro. I was watching the highlights. I don't rate England like that. I don't keep watching, man. They vexed me. I was watching the highlights. My man literally went, put his arms out and went, oh, like you can see the hesitation and carried on putting his arms out. I was like, you're weak, bro. You're weak. You're weak.
Oh God!
I beg you, your own time. I'm gonna watch it now. Watch you chatting, just for jokes. I will send it you. But absolute mate, just a wet lettuce, man. He is a wet. He's a cabbage. Absolute cabbage.
I mean, he is embarrassing. But listen, just to finish on that topic, I don't personally think he was bullying as well. I just think, where's that coming? And there was two really good comments back to back. Yeah, there we go. Mal put it up. I just think people have gone soft and get offended. The slightest bit of criticism. And the second comment here, which is absolutely on point. Like he was Fergie on the pitch. Maguire is Ollie on the pitch. That is the difference. I couldn't word it better myself if I tried. That is absolute perfection as a comment. So thank you for that one, Akil. That is definitely a nail on the head. But let's move on. Obviously, we just mentioned the manager very briefly before we go into Ollie and some of the news regarding the game against Watford. I just want to clear up some news and rumours and speculation regarding the manager roulette, as I'm calling it at the moment. Let's be real. I'm not going to sit here and pretend to be in the know and claim to know anything. Quite evidently, 2 days ago, I thought Man United were in for Zidane. 2 days later, he's rejected Manchester United. So quite clearly, we're not in the know. But what I will say is there's a lot of speculation regarding Brendan Rodgers in particular to Manchester United Football Club. Jerry, we'll come to you firstly. My question to you, let's do the speculation and then I'll ask the question afterwards. So, firstly, do you believe that Zidane is rejected Manchester United? And secondly, do you feel Brendan is the most realistic person out there at the moment?
I've said this before. All this stuff, I don't even like talking about it because he's here to stay. Like full stop. Like all this talk about Rodgers and Zidane. I try not to get involved because I know come Saturday, come the week after, Ollie's gonna do his press conference. He's gonna stay, and like I prefer to talk about it when it does happen because right now all the rumors is a bit. Like you said, you hear Zidane has agreed, but then his wife don't want to come Manchester. Then Rodgers has agreed end of the season, but today he's come out saying, "I love Leicester. This is my team. It's disrespectful." It's all a merry-go-round. But for me, Ollie's our manager, innit? Like we just got to accept it, man. All this guessing, and we know who the owners are. We know who the board are. Realistically, I don't believe anything unless I see it live. So for me. Obviously, you asked me a question, like I kind of shut it down, but Ollie's our manager, man. So I just got to see what happens, man. Because all this other stuff is just paper talk, man.
Right. Okay. Fair enough. Obviously, you've gone for defense, which you love to
do.
Not
defense.
I'm checked out by the yo.
Zidane, he ain't gonna come mid-season. He can't even speak English, bro. Like. That was never gonna happen.
It's mad.
The Zidane thing, just cut it out. The Rodgers thing.
You don't need to speak English, mate. When he gets into that dressing room and that training ground, one roulette, these mother lovers know who Zidane is, and if they don't, headbutts.
And I'm talking about even dealing with the interviews and being Man United managers is a lot of pressure with the media. Like you gotta speak, bro. Like he does very. He's
but sometimes it's better not to speak, as we've seen from Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. So
yeah, but Man United is a different kind of fish, man. It's the biggest club. You're gonna have to speak a lot. And for me, like I said, Zidane mid-season ain't happening. Rodgers, nah, that's just a glorified Ollie, man. Like it's just gonna be top four with a bit of attacking football again. So for me, I'm not with the Rodgers talks. Let's wait and get an elite manager instead of rushing and getting some of these mediocre managers. But yeah, that's just my view on it.
Yeah, no, that's fair play. I mean, I agree with quite a few of what you said there. In terms of the Rodgers news. In case you haven't seen, I'm sure most of you will have. Fabrizio Romano tweeted something roughly about 3 o'clock or something, saying something along the lines of, I mean, it was just quoting Rodgers basically. Rodgers was saying that, Leicester's my team. It's disrespectful. They've got a great manager at Manchester United.
Guessing, man.
He goes, they've got a great manager at Manchester United. That's disrespectful to, obviously didn't say his name, but disrespectful to them. You know, disrespectful to my club, etc. I mean, for me personally, I'm not even reading into that because I don't expect Brendan Rodgers to come out and say, "Oh well, I'm leaving to Manchester United. I'm just trying to sort out the paperwork." The question, the sort of comment to you, then Najee, is like, there's no smoke without, there's no fire without smoke, and there seems to be a lot of smoke with the Rodgers thing. I know Jerry's kind of alluded to the approach of that. It's just rumors, etc. And I hear that because obviously I felt like that with transfers in the past, but it does feel like the Rodgers appointment seems like it's imminent. Obviously, I don't expect us to lose against Watford. God forbid we do. But how do you feel regarding the whole thing, Najee? Do you agree with Jerry? Like, nothing's going to happen. Let's just stop talking about it. Or do you think there is a bit of truth in the rumours?
I think there's truth in terms of the Glazers have been trying to speak to their managers. I think they've definitely had conversations with managers. Regarding them appointing a manager, I don't think they're anywhere close to doing it. I think most of it's smoke screens. The reason I believe that is for the simple fact that the Glazers are reactionary. They're not proactive. So they're panicking. There's a sense of, right, we need to get someone in, but who do we get? They aren't football people, so it's not like they can tap in there, open a file and go, right, I got a football brain. I can know what to do in this situation and get something quite quick and meaningful. I think Brendan Rodgers fits the ideology, and this is no disrespect to Brendan at all, but I think he fits the ideology of the Glazers. Any manager that comes into this club, I would never have an issue if we never had the owners and the board that we have. When we bring in a manager, I have to contemplate, will they be able to work under this board? That's the first question. Forget their CV.
Yeah.
Forget what their, you know, what they come with in terms of their accolades. Can that manager work under this board? And to answer that question honestly, you have to understand the board. Brenda, for me, is a top 4 merchant. He chases top 4. He doesn't chase silverware. He may have the intentions to chase silverware, but the facts that are there for everyone to see in terms of his efforts so far at Leicester, Liverpool. Yes, I know he had a great season with Liverpool, but for me, excuse using the same team, but I feel like that Liverpool team is pretty much the same as when Leicester won the Premier League. I don't think they would have won it after that under Brenda anyway, even if they'd have won it that season. So taking all that into consideration, Brenda suits the profile of the Glazers, top 4, nothing more. That's why they're not really ambitious to go and get the right managers. Now, when we were meant to get Conte, I was so glad we didn't. But at the same time, I feel like they didn't do it. They didn't not get him for footballing reasons because he has the perfect CV. But I genuinely know that he would have thrown them under the bus.
Yeah.
And with the Glazers backing Ollie to a certain degree, not fully, but to a certain degree over the years, a Conte comes in here, he's going to want to rip up the whole rebuild that's been able to be done for 3 years. So when I look at that, I go, I'll be honest, he's just going to be knocking on the Glazers' door asking for 50 to 80 mil for one player. He's going to kick off when he doesn't get his player, and ultimately it's not going to work. At Inter Milan, Conte signed 16 players. Yes, okay, maybe only 4 or 5 were first 11 and the other were fringe, but still, he had the ability to sign who he wanted. That's not going to happen at United, so it wouldn't have worked for me. And in a short space of time, I don't think with this current squad that he's got, under his ability to be able to rebuild a team, I don't think he'd won anything or competed for the major titles that we want. So I'm quite glad that we didn't get him. Brenda, on the other hand, he used to play 4-1-4-1, but I think with that kind of setup, will it work with our current players, especially the new players that have come through? It could, but I don't think it'd be as effective as Leicester. That's my issue with Brendan. But again, my issue is if we appoint Brendan, that shows the ambitions of the owners, and so whether he succeeds or not, my energy will be furthermore towards the Glazers and this board. because they're the ones setting us up to fail. You'll never hear me slate a player again. You'll hear me criticize a player, but I'll never go in. I'll never go flipping ham on a man. Do you know what I mean? I would never do that. Not anymore. I'll criticize fairly, but I won't ever go into depth because Brenda will be set up to fail. There's no doubt about that. And a lot of football structures that are in place at the moment allow managers to do their job really well. Leicester have a great structure. His recruitment staff are impeccable. If you brought his recruitment staff, I may put my ears up a little bit because he's able to find talent from nowhere. That seemingly would work under the Glazers because when they say no, or they go, now you can have your 19th choice player, my man can go, you know what? My man's on 20 million. He'd be the next one coming through. We've got a bag of youth as well that he would use. So there are loads of pros and cons. I'll finish on this and I'll say regarding Brenda. Sorry, I know it's Brendan, but I call him Brenda.
I'm loving it, fam. That's Brendan. I'm like,
Brenda. I've called him that since Liverpool days, so that'll be his name. The only way he can make me say his name properly is if he comes into United and he takes that captaincy off Maguire and says, "Sit down your bench, bro. Like, forget Leicester." I'll be like, "Raw, you're that man. You got minerals." Then I'll be like, "Okay, Brendan." So then it's Brenda. But yeah, just to finish, guys. I think with Brendan coming in, I think he's got to be able to ultimately get this team firing. And I think one positive is there's a lot of nostalgia attached and a lot of emotion attached to Ollie at the moment. With the fans having Brenda there, knowing his Liverpool links and everything else, he won't have any sentiment backing him. There'll be no sentiment. People will be backing him, but not with chest.
Yeah, it's true.
In the same way, so he has to step up, which I think will be the right amount of pressure for him to do bits. Again, you think about Ronaldo and I always look at football. I always look at sports psychology and how the human brain works. We had a conversation before about my job line, so that's just what I do by nature, and I can't see it starting healthy with Brenda coming in and Ronaldo, Varane, Bruno, genuine natural born winners and leaders. De Gea going, you know what? Like, I can take you seriously. Brendan's going to have to do some... He's going to have to pick his words carefully. He's going to have to move quick. And he's going to have to show why he should be respected. Because he's got no accolade behind him. Got no accolade behind him for the players to go... Or them type of players to go, raw. Fair play, like, you know what you're doing. So he's going to have to jump on board quick and not doing all the... Put his arm around him, but just be assertive with what he wants. And you know, drop big plays when needs be, and make a stance. If he makes a stance, then I'll say, you know what, Brenda, you're doing your bits, man. Yeah, big up Sing Games, man. Brenda's the word. That's, you know, you heard it here first. So yeah, I'll leave it at that. I would be hopeful, but I will not be happy. I will back him, but I won't believe in him.
Yeah, I mean, I think obviously you said quite a lot regarding him as a manager. I think for me, the thing that stands out the most and is a common theme with the sort of failures of Manchester United is the board. That was the thing that I took away from everything that you said there. Like, he would be the appointment for the board. He wouldn't be an appointment for the fans. He won't be an appointment for the best interest of the football club. And I think for me, that is the most damning sort of thing regarding the whole situation. I mean, people like Zidane, Conte, Luis Enrique to an extent, you know, they have that authority. They have that sort of, we've been there, we've done that. They come in with that authority and the board will have to take note of what they're saying. People like Poch, people like Brenda, guys, and I can't think of what the other one was linked to my United at the moment. It was just mainly them two. Like, I just think they're the dream appointment for the Glazers, them two in particular. And this isn't a knock on Poch. I know he's a good coach and he's done good things at Tottenham, etc. But if you actually look at what he did at Tottenham and analyse it, that would be the absolute epitome of a dream for the Glazers. Shoestring budget, top four consistently, playing fairly good football, playing the youth, which will buy the fans on board. Nice guy, good charisma, etc., etc. And the fans will like him because, you know, that's just who he is. And I feel like Brendan Rodgers as well will fall into a similar category. Of course, you made a very good point that because of his Liverpool roots, it will be somewhat different to him. There won't be any sentiment attached to him. So he would have to hit the ground running, which, of course, brings his own pressure to the job for him. But I just think they're both very safe options. And this isn't a discredit to what they've achieved in the game at all. But for me, if we're a serious club, we get an interim right now. this was going to be my next question, but this is me personally. We get interim right now. I can't chuck a name out of the top of my head. Obviously, feel free to help me out. The comment section. We get an interim, whoever it may be, and go for either Luis Enrique or Ten Hag at the end of the season. They're the two guys.
Enrique ain't coming, man.
I'm not saying they're gonna come. I'm not saying they're gonna come, Jerry. Hear me out, bro. Stop being so fucking negative.
No, because
chill. Don't worry.
It's unrealistic. It's not happening.
I didn't say it was realistic. I said what I would do if I'm looking at the club with ambition. I would go Luis Enrique as my number one, potentially Zidane or Ten Hag as my number two, whoever you want to go for. One of them two options. Well, we know that's not going to happen. I mean, for me personally, they're probably going to get Brendan Rodgers. Like, I do think it'll happen, whether it's now or the end of the season. So my question to you two will come to you first, Jerry. Are you willing to wait until the end of the season with this fraud as the manager and bite the bullet, whatever you want to call the saying, and get a proper bona fide coach as the names I just mentioned? Not to say that it will happen, but I'm just saying and throwing it out there. Or are you at that point now, end of your tether, so to speak, just get rid of this guy right now and bring me in whoever it may be? So in this case, it seems like Brendan Rodgers is a favourite mid-season. So Jerry, what are your thoughts? You getting Brendan Rodgers mid-season, or you sticking out with Oli and getting a bona fide upgrade? Again, these are just names that I'm hoping are in the conversation. The likes of Ten Hag, Luis Enrique, if there's anyone else you want to throw in there.
It's hard, but what I'm leaning towards is obviously wait till the end of the season, because Rodgers, is it a massive upgrade? Not really. Although he can come and just say it a lot, but for me, I'd rather wait and not rush into decision. Let's plan this properly like we were supposed to plan. When Oli got the interim role and then we're supposed to look for a manager, then he did the unbeaten run and he got the job full time. But then saying that, giving Oli to the end of the season, I still think we're gonna make top four, which takes us back that he's staying for another season. So it's like, well, what do we do, bro? Is actually because I actually think Oli somehow will not turn it around, because obviously we want to win the league, but I think he'll comfortably get top four, which then means he's achieved the target, tick for the Glazers, and then he stays beyond next season. So it's hard, man. But yeah, I'd rather wait for a top manager rather than getting Brendan Rodgers mid-season right now. Yeah, I'd rather wait, man.
Okay, fair enough. So you'd rather wait. Najee, what are your thoughts? Would you rather wait or just, bite the bullet, get Brendan Rodgers in hypothetically, or whoever it may be that you want to get in mid-season, realistically speaking? What are your thoughts?
Neither. I can't even pick one of them, because I'd be lying to myself. And that's like the joke thing. I'd be lying to myself, bro. Like, this is where the Glazers and the board have put us in. They've put us in this shit, sticky situation because they're incompetent. For me, the answer is simple. You go get an interim manager and you put him on a short contract to the end of the season, or at least 12 months, whatever, just to get the job done. We can all have this notion that anyone is probably better than Oli and his coaching staff. For me, like, the way I think is that we go to Qatar, we go get Laurent Blanc, who is a club legend, but generally is a good manager as well. Managed PSG, I think, as well at one point. You get Laurent Blanc in his interim, just for a little work. That my man's in Qatar, man. Come on, if he had a bit of experience just to grace Man United and be in the Prem, that's not a bad shout at all. I think he genuinely put this team into shape. He understands the club and the culture. He's played here, but at the same time, tactically, he's so much more advanced than Oli, and he does demand a lot from his players and his team. So for me, it'd be Laurent Blanc interim, and then you go and get Ten Hag. Then you go all out for Ten Hag. People are acting like Manchester United.
What if Blanc does it Oli and doesn't matter?
I was just about to say that.
Listen. I would much rather Blanc go and do a madness, because I will be able to judge by the football on the pitch and go, I've seen him play this style at PSG. I've seen how he plays his team in Qatar. Not that I've watched many games, but I took an interest based on the pressure under Oli after the Liverpool game. So I took an interest to see what interims were about. He plays good football. It's not great, but then again, you can see the quality of the players aren't up there either. But for me, to answer your question, Jerry, if he was to go and do an Oli, at least I know I could trust the football that's being played, because I go, you know what, he's getting good results and playing good football. Those two can coexist.
My question: did you trust Oli? Because I can't lie, most of fans, when I saw the Oli bar at the beginning, I thought
I
Right,
did. I
right.
did. I'm not gonna.
I was like, give him the
yes, I
job
did.
because he changed
Nah.
everything, man.
I'll tell you what I said, and I said this from day one, yeah. And when I was on United stand, I called it there. I said, I am Ollie for the rebuild, but I'm not Ollie forever. The reason I said Ollie for the rebuild was because I knew the structure of the club needed fixing.
Yeah.
And he is the only manager that I could think of that understood the structure and how it was built beforehand. And to put this into context, you got to go back to David Moyes. He ripped out the structure left, right, and centre. He had everything given to him on the plate, the backroom staff, the coaches. He had everything there. And he chose to go, no, I'm bringing in my Evertonians. From that moment, he's ripped up a well-built structure already. So with that, he's then had to, in my opinion, Ollie's had to then go and replace or try and fix those issues. Van Gaal's issues in terms of segregating the team when he's putting cameras up everywhere and making players sit separate from staff and stuff. Staff that have been there for 30, 40 years. Like, that's whether you think that's important to the football side at all. It's very important to Manchester United's history and coaching DNA. That's very important, that togetherness. He built a family, and if you think that's a joke, Jurgen Klopp did exactly the same at Liverpool. He didn't just build the team, he built the club. And that's how you have sustained success. So people don't really appreciate the intricacies behind the football and what goes on behind and how important those relationships are. There may be some out there that do, and big up yourself for doing that, because it's important to look at those things. But again, Van Gaal was like, great tactician, was looking to build some form of structure, but man management wasn't great. Fergie was absolutely everything. He was everything, and this is why it's difficult to replace. Now, you're not going to replace him, but what you need is a little bit of Van Gaal and a little bit of Ollie. So when you could put the arm around a man and build a structure, you need an assertive man with a clear goal to make football the priority. So, yeah, I think it's been difficult to see Ollie kind of go on this run and everything else where he's done really well. But I think he has reached his ceiling. And with the greatest respect, as I said, I'm open to be wrong. This is why I said Ollie for the real, but not Ollie forever. The reason I said not Ollie forever is because I question his ability as a manager on the pitch and as a coach. I didn't know enough about him. I'd not seen his team play football. When I was watching Manchester United, I saw the new manager bounce, which was sick. But then at the same time, I was seeing a lot of individual brilliance, and I couldn't work out a style of play or pattern. So that worried me. That was like a mini red flag for me.
It was vibes, just vibes.
Yeah, it was straight vibes. But again, I understand. You have to understand that Man United fans, because we're so desperate and we're in desperate need of something to hang on to, that kind of clouded our judgment. We stopped judging what we were seeing on the pitch and breaking it down because it was the best we've ever found.
Yeah, that's true.
And for his first season, I can never knock him. Ollie absolutely smashed it. He played with the 4-3-3 with the 2-8s, the 3 forwards switching position. It was beautiful to watch. And I was like,
that was Herrera, Pogba, Matic, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, and
the most balanced midfield we've had in it, realistically.
Sorry, no, it was excuse me, Matic, Pogba, Bruno. COVID season.
You're on about post.
Yeah. So when we went from like 7th to 4th, I thought, you know what? Ollie has done everything he was able to do with that team. Couldn't get him any better. Then he didn't get back to Sancho. So the talks were that after that Leicester game when we made top 4, I think we beat them 2-0, whatever it was. He was meant to get Sancho like Fergie did right at the start for next season. He didn't get him.
He would not.
Then obviously we lost.
In ages, like, what? Do you know what I mean? It's not like
it's true. It's true. But I just think it was evident. It was evident like, on that right side we were struggling, and I think he had a clear vision and plan. And to me, it looked like he knew where he wanted to take the team. So again, I trusted that. However, when we lost to Tottenham, when Mama lost to Tottenham, it was a 6-1 slapping. He reverted. He went in himself. He didn't show no character. He went in himself and started to play this 4-2-3-1. Had no players to fit that system. Didn't know how to use it. And since then, it's gone backwards. Now, I've seen that next thing. It was that over same season we beat PSG. He did really well with the 4-4-2 diamond. And I thought, you know what? You're a manager who's trying to work out your style of playing system. And if you're rebuilding the structure and the team, for me, that's good. That's positive. But then when I'm not seeing him change up and I'm not seeing him get any better and I'm not seeing him coach any better and I'm seeing him pick certain individuals more than most and they're making mistakes, then I start to question his man management. Then I start to question his decorum and in his strength of character. For me, he's weak, he's stubborn, and since then I was like, you know what, get this rebuild done, then you need to go after that. So yeah, just to answer your question through the long track, Jerry. I didn't believe in him. I just hoped that he would build on what he's done, and he hasn't. So for me, he had to go last season.
I mean, he had to go for me at the end of Europa League. I mean, I would have sacked him after we lost to Spurs. I mean, losing to Spurs 5 or 6-1, whatever it was. I mean, that is just embarrassing in itself. I just want to quickly touch upon something very briefly. Like, you kind of alluded to the fact that the fans were so desperate after Jose Mourinho, and that's why we took to the so-called Oli era, or the start of the Oli era so well. Because, like, for me personally, I was so sick and tired of negative football. Oli came in and changed the script to an extent, and I feel like that is where we are at the moment as a fan base. The Glazers get us into a situation where we are desperate, where we accept mediocrity. In that case, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, with all due respect to him as a manager, his credentials and his sort of CV, so to speak, quite clearly or quite evidently suggested that as a long-term option, he was never going to work. But what you said in terms of the rebuild, he has done a fairly decent job. However, the one thing I've been saying this season now, and this comment here from Akil, which leads me on very nicely to the next topic, as always, if we stick with Oli till the end of the season, the next manager won't have many of the current players available. So as much as the credit, you said, obviously, you wanted to rebuild, etc. And I do hear that. And I felt like prior to the start of the season, he had rebuilt the squad fairly well. I mean, to the extent that I thought it was good enough to compete at the top level. But the question to you, Jerry, is it now if the Glazers don't take a sort of necessarily ownership, but if they don't take action, this club is going to be absolutely finished? Because let's just reel off a couple of names. We already know Jesse Lingard's going. I mean, I'm not too mad about that, but again, that was stupid. We could have sold him for 20 million. He's practically going for free, if not 5 to 10 million now. There's a lot of rumours that Van der Beek's on his way out. I mean, can you blame him? Martial's on his way out. We know Pogba's on his way out. Cavani's on his way out. There's now rumours coming out from 2 days ago or 1 day ago. Dean Henderson wants to leave because he's not getting the match time that he was promised. Again, Ollie's man management being shit there, but we move. So that's like 6 to 7 names I've reeled off the top of my head. Obviously, players like Mata and Matic will be on the way out as well. I mean, Mata is completely irrelevant, but Matic is somewhat relevant to the squad. So you're looking at 8 people, a massive exodus of players really under Ollie's. The credit that he gets is, he's built the best team post-Fergie. But surely, Jerry, him now staying, he's undoing all the good work, if you want to call it that he's done, surely.
Yeah. When you put it like that, it's that.
But look at the players though, like Van der Beek,
I hear you.
Cavani, everyone's gone.
Yeah, man. The one thing that has annoyed me the most is, like, when Najee was talking about, like, his man management. I thought, yeah, maybe he might not have the tactical, awareness as a manager, but he knows that he's been around United trying to get the family feel. But the way he's treated certain players, especially this season, our question to think is that Oli or is that his twin? Because it's so bizarre to me, bro. Like, I was thinking, this can't be Oli. The way he's treating Van der Beek, Martial, who he loves so much. Who else? Like, even Pogba, that he's been raving about since he's got here. All of a sudden, he's just doing some weird stuff, bro. Like, I'm thinking, nah, man. Like, what's happening? He's bought Sancho, then he plays him on the left, and then we ain't seen him again. He's brought him in, then he's dropped him. Van der Beek, you've promised him minutes this season. You've given him reassurances that he's going to play. We ain't seen him. Even Lingard, you've begged him to stay. You've called him back. He's actually come on, and he's affected games, and we ain't seen him since. So I'm struggling to find, like, who is this guy, bro? Like you said, he's a fraud, bro. Because I'm so shocked the way he's moving.
He lies, man, through his back teeth.
Literally, it's very bizarre that he's moving like this, and I don't know why. I thought him and the players were like, they were tight, like it was a good relationship, but certain players, like you said, like Martial must be thinking, like, bro, like, what happened? You gave me a new deal, was it 2 years ago? I was your number 9 2 seasons ago. I was banging the goals. Now I can't even get a game. Like,
you can't make the bench.
Exactly. Like, what's happening, bro? Like,
when have you ever seen Ole Gunnar Solskjaer actually reward a great performance within
Yeah,
it. Name me one player, and I'll name you one that gets scapegoated. And the reason why I don't believe in this name is rewarded for his performance is because he doesn't trust anyone else on the right. But Greenwood would be the only name you could probably come up with. But again, we don't have a right winger, so there's another factor there.
I mean, we
you
have
can't say
Sancho,
for others.
but
So other than that, name a player that's had who's changed the game, changed the way we've actually played, made us look better, performed well, and then started the next game. You won't find one, promise.
Why I don't understand that. That's just
You can look at Twanzebe against PSG. No one can say he didn't. That performance again. I rate him, so I'll gas him up for days. Twanzebe is so underrated. I love watching go for the youth academy. I think he was amazing. Watched some great games there as well. To see him come through, such a competent centre back. He's immense, and coming back after injury to put in a performance like that against PSG, even if let's say that was an 11 out of 10 game, even if he had a 5 out of 10 game and didn't do everything he did in that PSG game, that was still more on an individual basis than you'll ever see Lindelof Maguire do. Fact. So for me, again, after that got dropped, everyone went quiet on him. Oh, he's not good enough. He needs time to break. Everyone giving excuses. I'm saying no. That is healthy competitive behavior within the camp. If you've got a youth who's come back out of injury, and you've got £80 million players, and they're not performing, which they, in my opinion, weren't at that time, and they can produce that, you start them, and then you show your £80 million player that regardless of your price tag, these are the levels you step up. That's healthy for the team. That's healthy for the young players. Donny van de Beek looks amazing when he come on. I've rated him. I'm watching Donny since 2016 before the Champions League hype. So luckily, obviously, I've got family, not by blood, but family in terms of people I've grown with who live in Holland. And for them, they love Ajax. So I've had the blessing to be able to watch Donny van de Beek. Again, what an incredible player. So when he came, I was like, oh my God, what signing? I'm gassed. That midfield's going to be sick. We're going to be playing 1-2 touch ball. We're going to be moving the ball out quicker. Like, it's going to look amazing, blah, 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 blah. All this great stuff. When he's come on, he's shown glimpses of that. I think he's made perfect runs where he's not being found, especially on the last man. And I'm looking at thinking, he's getting no service. There's no coordination or direction around him. And yet he's been slewed. But yet still, he manages to at least control the game or help us control the game for larger periods of the game. So when I'm watching this thinking, well, that's a positive. Why is he not starting over McTominay? An injured McTominay comes on. So you can look at this. You can even look at stretch to Ahmad. You can stretch Ahmad and say, in the Europa League, he was incredible. And if you need a right winger, then you'd make that happen. You'd make that happen. You find a way to put him in the team. So you've spent 40 million on him. You're not using him, which was your Sancho replacement for that season, and a Palestri, and then another 72 million this season. And now you're telling me Sancho is going to play right wing back. In whose life?
Wow.
In whose life?
Is another one. That
Everybody, another one, brother. Another one. The only person that hasn't been rewarded but has snuck his way in there was Dean Henderson, because he's knocking on manager's door saying, "You need to play me. I want to play." And got 140k or 120,000 pound new contract, 6-year deal, and I wants to walk. Stupidness. But as I said, you won't find a player that gets into Ollie's team on merit, and that's the issue for me. Big issue.
Yeah. I mean, that kind of coincides with the whole notion of Ollie playing his favourites. I mean, for me personally, it's already done with Ollie. It's quite evident that I think that. But he needs to, if he wants to somehow rectify, or change it, turn it around, or whatever you want to sort of sugarcoat it up as or dress it up as, he needs to get rid of this notion of playing his favourites. I mean, you kind of went into detail. Amad Diallo, obviously a couple of the examples, Twanzebe against PSG. I mean, even Martial, for example. I mean, his misses is coming out on numerous occasions, in the last couple of weeks, quite clearly suggesting that he's fully fit. Martial's the last person to score a home goal in the league. He was that last goal scorer in the league at home, and he hasn't even made the bench. I'm not saying that Martial is pulling up trees. I'm not saying Martial has done himself any justice this season. I'm not saying he's warranting a start, but you can't tell me a player of that caliber can be frozen out for absolutely no reason. I mean, this was the season where he had to prove that the doubt was wrong, get people back on board. Has he hit the ground running? Absolutely not. He then gets injured, comes back from injury, scores against Everton off his only real start of the season, bar the first 2 games when it was quite evidently he wasn't fit. and then apparently he's injured, and then we don't see him again. He can't even make the bench. Van de Beek, as you mentioned, his last real noticeable game, man of the match against West Ham. Amad Diallo, as you mentioned, last game he scored. Telles, last game he scored. These guys aren't getting rewarded for good performances. Tuanzebe literally put a 10 out of 10 performance against Neymar and Mbappe, and the guy wasn't rewarded. So someone like me who studies sports psychology at uni knows the mental side of the game fairly well. The ramifications on these guys' mental game is absolutely astronomical. You can't really dress it down. Tuanzebe's thinking to himself, I've dropped a 10 out of 10 against Mbappe and Neymar, and I've not seen the light of day. Amad Diallo's thinking the exact same. Comes on, scores a crucial goal for Manchester United Football Club, doesn't even make the bench week in, week out. Telles scores an absolute banger against Villarreal, doesn't even get a look in when Shaw's injured, and costs us a goal against Everton, which obviously Townsend scored. I mean, for them mentally, they already checked out now because they're thinking, I can put in a stellar performance and not be rewarded. It's basically they've got nothing to gain out of playing well for Manchester United Football Club. Martial scores, doesn't make the bench. I'm not saying Martial's painting himself in glory, but people need to look at the bigger picture. The fringe players have been frozen out by Ole Gunnar Solskjaer because all he gives a shit about is players that he trusts. The McFreds, they can drop a 1 out of 10 week in, week out, but he trusts them, so they will play. Van der Beek's probably sat on the bench thinking, how the fuck is McTominay playing after we've just been hit for 5, the week before been hit for 4, the week after been hit for 2, and got absolutely humiliated, and I still can't even get 5 minutes on the pitch. What is that going to do for his mentality?
John O'Shea was way better than McTominay. I'm just saying, and that's not even cap. Like John O'Shea was actually a peckers. He is so sick compared to McTominay.
But John O'Shea would be our captain in this day and age because fucking he's better than Maguire. So I'll tell you that right now. At least he's got a
even the man that Matic as a senior player, he must feel so disrespected.
He doesn't even get a game. Why do you keep him then?
He gave a new deal. They gave
new deal. There you go, Jerry.
Why they kept Matic and Mata for fucking why? What is the point of keeping Mata? He's not even wore the bib to go and train. Like, or warm up on the touchline once this season. Man's not even wore the bib. Like, you're taking the piss out of Mata. I'm not saying he should be starting, but why do you persist on keeping these players? As you mentioned,
I guarantee to you, if we had a competent coach who appreciated high IQ football, you would see more of Mata than you would see McTominay. And I'm saying that in terms of in the 10 role against, like, let's be example. Let's say we're playing some cup games, right? If you're playing cup games, you're playing like you're a Notts County or whatever. I've got no doubt in my mind that someone who's embedded in a system which is reliant on genuine good footballing IQ creators, Mata would be seeing game time. Same way David Silva did at Man City. Of course, his agent was not his age in terms of the agent that he was at that club at the time at City. He was older than most, and he's not as old as Mata, but still, the principle is still the same. He'll be able to do you a job in the 10 role, picking up a ball and just spreading passes and linking up play. He's good enough to do that. He doesn't need tracking back 24/7. But we don't play a high line. We don't press. We don't swamp our opponent. So there's no way that that technically gifted players can get into that team. And I think that's why we're struggling so much. Yeah,
no, absolutely. I mean, Jerry, the question to you, off the back of what obviously myself and Nate you've just said, I mean, it's a really stupid question, but I'm going to ask it anyways. If this guy plays McFred on the weekend, after everything that has happened, Van de Beek, if I'm not mistaken, I might be completely wrong. Did he go to international duty? I feel like he didn't. He didn't get picked. What a shock. He's not even had 1 minute on the pitch. I mean, he did get a couple of minutes, 2 minutes the other day, and we scored in the Champions League, and he almost scored the win as well. That would have been absolute madness. But surely, Ollie's got to make wholesale changes for Watford, Jerry.
Yeah, that's the reports today saying, Van der Beek's he's training, he's been superb, he's in line to start. Which for me is just crap. Until I see it on Saturday afternoon, I'm not believing a word. And I saw Fred and the Brazilian boys on a private jet coming back to the UK, and I'm thinking, yeah, he's definitely starting. Yeah, 100%. I don't know for Scott because I think he pulled out of the Scottish national team, so I don't know if he's.
But you know, exactly. If they could run on the grass for 5 minutes, how long is to get those 5 minutes in?
Yeah, so,
Yo,
but like I said, even at the beginning of the stream, not that I'm excited, but I'm looking forward to surely, like you said.
Wait, why are you looking forward to? Sorry, you said that right.
I'm not looking forward to, but I'm intrigued to see if that holiday he's gone on to, if he's read some books, done some yoga, he's got a fresh new mind, and he's gonna. I want to see. Like, surely there must be some changes going into Watford. It cannot be if it's the same team, the same football.
At least, unless he's gone to the burning bush and God has spoken to himself, nothing is going to change, my brother. With all due respect,
man. I think he will start. Because
I mean, he's got to change something, surely, isn't it?
He's got to. And
what would you change, Jerry? What would you change? Like, we're not going to do a preview this week, most likely, because I've got time. But what would you change if, apart from Van der Beek, which is the obvious one? But is there anything else you would change with that team?
Left back, Luke Shaw. I don't know what's wrong with him, but he didn't play for England. So, and I don't know if he's ready. So
he's pregnant, man. He's pregnant right now.
With Maguire's baby, that's why Maguire's doing that.
Tell us come straight in, man. Tell us come straight in for me. Centre backs. Yeah, I'll actually start Maguire because I think he needs to play himself into form. You can't hide as Man United captain.
What are you talking about? He scored 2 in 2.
No, but for United, you can't hide, bro. People say drop him and that. He has to play, bro.
Nah, you can't drop him, man. He's skipping, man.
Even Lindelof and Bayer, I don't know, because Lindelof, to be fair, he's been decent this season. He's actually done all right. So I'm putting him Bayer. I know. I know Bailly scored the own goal the last game, but I'm sticking with him. So I'll play Maguire, Bailly, Wan-Bissaka. Yeah, it is what it is. You know my thoughts on him. Midfield, I actually want to try the Matic Van der Beek pivot because we haven't seen that since the season started, and they actually played preseason a lot of the games. So I'm going Matic Van der Beek, and obviously Bruno in the 10. On the left, Rashford. I mean, he pulled out of England, so he must be fit and ready to go. And Sancho on the right, and obviously Ronaldo up top, man. So
Ronaldo's gonna be fucking fuming, bro. They've just come back from that elegance, Serbia. Yo, he's not gonna be in a good mood. I'll say that right now.
He will unleash on Watford. Don't worry. He will unleash
Watford, man.
He's bagging a hat trick. I'll tell you that right now. But Najee, what are your thoughts? Is there anything Ollie? Well, I mean, he needs to change a lot. But as Jerry's just gone through, like, what's the major thing you want to see change, man, in this Watford game?
Oh man, I just want to finish the game where I'm not crying, bro. That's it. I'll be honest. I think for the team, I'll just stay consistent with what my team did, and similar to Jerry. Obviously, I'd have De Gea and goals, obvious. Unfortunately, Bissaka. I say that reluctantly, but I say Bissaka on the right.
They look good in training.
Yeah, them training things. I say that one pass.
Listen, he made the pass.
My centre back. Obviously, it has to be Eric Bayer, man. King of Wakanda. You can't ramp with my man, bro. He's serious. It has to happen. There's no reason for him to start. I'd also play Lindelof just for the simple fact that he's better on the ball than Maguire. He's quicker with the ball, Maguire. He makes decisions quicker. Watford are going to sit deep, so I don't want to see Maguire anywhere near that team. That's just how I see it. I know he will start, so I'm just going off what I would want to do based on your question. Obviously, left back, I would like to see Tellers, not sure. Just for the simple fact, again, against Watford, attack. It'll breed some confidence. If you get countered, you get countered, but at least you've got an Eric Bailly who's good enough, in my opinion, to track runners and be calm enough to win the ball back and distribute it. Pivot, I'm with Jerry. Has to be Matic and Donny van der Beek. If you're playing that formation, it just has to be that. And you can say Matic is slow, but I always say if you had a system would cover for your deficiencies within your team. So, for example, you look at Trent Arnold. Yeah, he gets caught slacking a couple of times at right back, but the team is set up for him to stay more forward. So his system will be covered by the centre mid and the right-sided centre back. So again, if he is exposed, there's a way in which they can cover that deficiency. So you could do that with Matic, no problem. Do I think he'll play 60, 70 minutes, 90 minutes every game? No, I don't. But I feel like he could give us a good hour at the highest level in the Prem. And I think if you've got two competent centre-backs behind him, let's say who will be able to cover for Matic's deficiencies in terms of being off the ball, winning the ball back quicker so he can distribute it. It's no problem. A Van de Beek next to him, who's intelligent enough to give 1-2 passes, is good in tight spaces. So for me, those are deficiencies that could be covered more so than not. Obviously, Bruno for me would be in the 10, but I'd like to see Bruno just be more patient with his runs, because at the moment he's playing like an old school 10. Where it's a 9 and a 10, a bit like Andy Cole and Dwight. You're nothing wrong with that. But when your team's struggling with its shape, the first thing you need to do is to try and keep your shape. But again, whether he does that, I don't know. I mean, to be fair, the goal Cavani scored with Ronaldo's 08 Ronaldo chop pass, which was ridiculous. Yeah, he actually held the ball up very well for that goal. And he normally would get it, either ping it or try to keep running. He
try to flick it. He try to flick it or some shit.
Do some form of madness. Do some madness. So yeah, Bruno in the 10 for me, guys. And then Sancho, I know he's not a right winger, he's more of an inverted winger and a cam player. But the link-up play with Donny van de Beek is something I would absolutely love to see.
And Wan-Bissaka, don't forget that as well. You know that.
You're mad. I was just about to say, You're crazy.
I had to get it in.
You're trying to get Booker T to do bits on the right, but that's happening. I was like, no, it's not happening. R-Truth and that. Remember R-Truth? I'm like R-Truth.
Yes, you know
the way R-Truth gives interviews is the same way Bissaka plays football. Fact. If you don't know what R-Truth is, go watch R-Truth, man. Make it happen. After you subscribe and like this video, go do bits. But yeah, I think again, with a Sancho and a Van de Beek link up, I think you'll get the best out of a Sancho, because 1-2 passing, intelligence is there, and I don't think Bissaka would be needed as much to whip balls in. I don't think we could play like that. Ronaldo for me would start. I mean, I would prefer Cavani to start based on his movement, because I think it would help Van de Beek and Sancho more. I'm just thinking balance, but I think Ronaldo could do that job anyway, because he's intelligent enough to pick up the right spaces. He just needs to know that he can trust the players around him to feed him when he's making movements. And on the left, for me, it has to be Martial 24/7. For the same reason as Sancho, link-up play, IQ, the intelligence to be able to hold a ball and draw players in, to be able to hold up a ball. So, for example, when he's collecting the ball in the higher ends, and you're waiting for players to kind of catch up and stuff, I've not seen a better hold-up player in the team. And I think that's so crucial when you're trying to build up play. So for me, Martial on the left 24/7. I don't think he's a forward or a striker in that respect. But I think if you have a system, you could get the best out of a Sancho and a Martial left and right, and Cavani or Ronaldo up front. But yeah, that's what I do, bro.
Yeah, I do agree. I think Martial and Sancho for me are probably the best support players that a striker can get from what we've got currently available in our team. As you said, then Martial's ability to bring other players into the game, which is why he was so successful in the number 9 in that season alongside Marcus Rashford. I think his ability to obviously hold the ball, link the play, that one-touch football, him, Van de Beek, Sancho, and Bruno to an extent as well, them 4 players against the Watford team would be absolutely bullish. I think the movement off the ball, obviously the one-touch football, the movement in terms of transition of the ball as well, would be really good to see. I think for me personally, the only thing that Rashford has against Martial and Sancho in particular is his ability to run both ways. What I mean by that is obviously running in behind and stretching the play is very integral in the games where teams, I mean, there might not be that much space in behind, or they're going to sit back. That is the question. I feel like
against the Watford, like that makes so much more sense. But again, I think if you play intelligent football, even if you played against a high pressing team, you can still work your way around. Because as I said, you only really need one runner to make an intelligent run. And Ronaldo,
Martial,
sorry,
but
go on, bro.
With Martial and Sancho, and what I like about them a lot is that they do that thing when they pop the ball. Like, we don't do that. No, pop the ball, keep it ticking. 1 touch, 2 touch max. And Van de Beek does that as well. Them 3 players could be the difference in the movement of the ball. I feel like we're so laboured on the ball, and that is a lot. That is down to many facets of the way we play, obviously the system, etc. But some of the individual players have to take accountability of that as well. They want too many touches on the ball. They're not moving the ball quickly enough. I mean, Pogba kind of falls into that category, although he's my favourite player without a doubt. Yeah. But a lot of our players tend to fall into that category. We don't move the ball quick enough. So that's why for me, Van de Beek and Sancho.
If I was to ask you, I was just about to say, if I was to ask you what was our best goal of this season, what would you say?
Without a shadow of a doubt, I don't even need to hesitate. that fourth goal against Newcastle, where Jesse
Newcastle,
Lingard scored.
bang, there you go. That's it all.
I know I was at the game.
That were on the pitch.
Me and Jerry were at the game.
Yeah.
Absolute no hesitation. And Jerry knows I said that because I know we scored a couple of bangers. I know a couple of players have scored bangers, but I said that goal happens because of two players in particular. In fact, three players as well. Obviously, Lingard get the goal, but Van der Beek and Martial was so integral in that goal. Obviously, Martial gets a dummy. Van der Beek, if you watch the goal back, I know Pogba actually gets the assist. But Van der Beek makes that forward run, that third man run, which he's fantastic at, what he's done time and time again at Ajax, and plays the ball, which looks like an easy pass, but it's a complete IQ pass back to Pogba. Pogba plays a phenomenal ball at the outside the boot, and that's the difference. That is the difference between a good player and a high IQ player. Van der Beek is the difference. He knows when to run, when to release the ball, when to play the ball in certain places, in a certain direction. And it might look like a simple pass, where he plays it perfectly for Pogba to get the eventual assist for the goal. And obviously Martial, his build-up in the attack was phenomenal, as was Lingard. And that's why I'm really disappointed. We haven't seen them guys play together. Lingard as well, Martial, Lingard, Van der Beek, what all have in common, whatever you say about Lingard, but what they all have in common is they play one-touch football. And that is what you need in the final third. Move the ball quickly. And you saw with the goal that we scored against, who did we play in the Champions League? Was it Villarreal?
Yeah, Villarreal.
Oh, no, it was Atlanta, wasn't it? Atlanta.
Yeah. You're about this season?
Yeah, no, sorry, I went about the recent game. So 2-2 against Atlanta.
Oh, sorry, yeah. Sorry,
my mistake.
Yeah, you're right.
First
Atlanta.
goal literally comes from nothing else but moving the ball quickly, and it's just all quick movement. All the players are in sync. The ball gets pinged into Greenwood, not rolled to Greenwood, pinged into him, and the player trusts him to have a good touch. Exactly. First touch around the corner, unbelievable vision by Bruno Fernandes, and there you go. They had all their team back, and we scored with 3 players touching the ball. I mean, that's the difference. And for me personally, we don't see that enough because a lot of the players aren't on the pitch that are doing that week in, week out. So Sancho and Green, to answer your question, Van der Beek and Sancho, for me, I was so gassed when we had these two together in the squad. I was thinking, oh shit, here we go. This is the Man United. They're gonna play one-touch football. They're gonna keep the ball moving, and you've seen it in periods with Sancho, but the other players aren't on his wavelength because they're holding onto the ball for too long of a period. So for me, that's where we fall short at the moment. Coaching, players, might be a combination of the both. But listen, I just want to finish. Enough of my ramblings. Just want to finish on the Glazers out protesting. So obviously, just want to pass it to you, Najee. Obviously, I know you're very passionate. I know a lot of other people on social media are very passionate about this movement. I haven't heard a lot of it of late. However, that doesn't mean we're not going to continue to do it. So just quickly, obviously, Saeed had the protest last week. Obviously, you put tweet out, a lot of the people put tweet out, obviously defending him, and rightfully so. But what are your thoughts on the whole Glazer thing at the moment? Because they haven't sacked the manager. They've had 14 days to, make a decision, so to speak. They've chosen not to do that. Whether that's the right decision or not, we'll have to wait and see, I guess. Where do you see the whole Glazer thing? Do you think the protests are important? Do you think that, they make a difference for the people that think that they don't, so to speak?
I think they make some difference, but it's not the bread and butter of the situation. The main reason why I don't think it's the bread and butter, I think it could be, but it's just the fan base is so divided. And because they're so divided, some of them are divided because they don't have the intelligence, so based on what's been going on and what's actually happening. Some don't want to know what's going on and don't care enough to want to sort the main problem out. So how can you really work with the majority of the fan base? There's so much egos within our fan base that I've come to see. Unfortunately, it's about who's right rather than what is right. And the level of disrespect and abuse that I see people giving to people who do fan cams and stuff, I'm not saying you have to agree and accept fan cams. That may not be your preference in terms of how you receive your Manchester United news or how you want to hear it. But please understand, understand the intentions of these people. Saeed, incredible human being, in my opinion, regarding his footballing matters, to be able to try and make a stance against the root of the problem. Now, I'm not saying you have to agree. I'm not saying you have to go and back. But what I would say you don't need to is go and disrespect him, man, because his intentions are clear. He is ultimately trying to get your club back so that you and whoever Pitney follow you, your youths that are running around, whatever, can enjoy what I'm pretty sure us three and many other Manchester United fans had the blessing to be able to under Fergie. That's it. He's trying to get the club back in the only way he knows and with the most honest way as well. Why would you go and abuse someone who's doing that? So you can, like, he's ultimately he's got a vision to help you profit off Manchester United in the way it should be, because the Glazers are running us so poor. Again, put your likes and dislikes to one side. Just don't disrespect someone with those intentions. If his intentions was to make a quick buck off it, and I didn't really care about the Glazers, I'd be like, you know what, fair play, I get your point. But it's quite evident he's passionate about the Glazers and understands they are the cause of all the issues what we're going through right now. He's the reason the fan base. They are the reason the fan base are in division. They're the reason that our fan base are having to talk about directors of football and managers, because the guys who are actually employed in that role aren't actually doing it themselves. Like, just let that sink in. We should be speaking about the football on the pitch. We should be enjoying, Ronaldo doing mad step overs and doing chops and free kicks. That's our level of support. That's what we should be doing. We should not be having to focus on the main issue of the Glazers. We shouldn't be having to do that. So the protests are more than important. And, I've not bought any merchandise for 3 years now. I've even told family members not to buy it. Every Christmas, birthday, they buy me shit.
Someone's going to say, what's all that shit behind you? I'm just going to throw that in there.
Put a comment.
Yeah, I'm just going to give you an opportunity to clarify what's the shirts behind you.
Yeah, so the Vodafone one, my mum bought me that. That was my first ever Man United shirt. The Vodafone's actually started to peel a bit, but I'm trying to get it pressed and ironed. Like, it's so dirty. I used to play in that one around the back of the field. It's so dirty. Like,
that's a classic.
Like, you can see all the old dirt marks and sweat marks. And, like, I've washed it many times. Daz ain't touching it. But yeah, listen, I did my education. And before I continue, I was part of the problem as a fan. I'm an honest person. I don't care if I'm right. I care if I'm learning. So if my knowledge is gained and I gain knowledge, then I can correct myself. That's what I do. The shirts that you see behind me, I've probably only bought 3 of them. A lot of them. One of them is dedicated to my Marge, which is the pink one you can see just there, top corner, with the 47 on the back. And these are the last 3 that I bought, which are replica classics. So you'll never catch me buying any merch ever again. I did my research because I knew that the only way the Glazers are going to stay in is by us being their customers. We are their customers. We're not their fans. So as beautiful as this looks behind me, of course I'm not going to burn it because a lot of sentiment and a lot of family members have done their job. But what I've had to do is educate them. And that's what I encourage everyone else to do, is to educate yourself on this club and why it's important that we focus on getting these guys out. And if we can't get them out, which is a massive stretch, at least at the bare minimum, they are able, if they want to make their dividends and their money and profits, cool. Do your thing. I still hate you. Not hate, because I don't know them personally, but strongly dislike you. However, at least put football people in positions where the board are making footballing decisions so that we can enjoy our club again and you can carry on making your money. At least do that. And if that's enough for us to make the change that we need, because let's be honest, if we start playing good football again and start challenging, I'm pretty sure even the strongest players that won't be saying much.
Yeah, it's true.
That's how I've said that on the space as well. Like, I feel like if we beat Watford come the weekend and we get a result against Chelsea and Arsenal, people are going to completely forget the Glazer. And as I was saying, it's about consistency. I mean, you're kind of alluding to obviously hitting the Glazers' pockets, obviously not spending on the merch and etc., or buy replicas, wherever it may be. And I think that's very important as well. But one thing I just want to add to what you're saying is the fans need to come together, man. The division, the fans, as you mentioned earlier, with the egos and stuff, that is literally killing the club. People don't realize the power that the fans have. I know a lot of people, keep going back to the protests we did, but quite rightly, as Saeed and other people have kind of alluded to the fact that that protest was more Super League based, and obviously and I suppose that was hating the Glazers as well, because of course they were integral to that decision. But the fans need to be united. The fans need to, look at a common goal, which is getting the Glazers out of the football club. It doesn't matter if that message is being delivered by Saeed, Stafford, whatever the Paddock, whatever they're called, Stretford Paddock, the United stand and so forth, or whoever it may be, Osman Talks United, or whatever it may be, right? It doesn't matter who's delivering the message. If you believe in the message and you want to obviously get those desirable results, which Saeed does, you got to back it. Drop your egos. Drop your, I'm not going to do it because Saeed's saying it. Or I'm not going to do it because Mark Goldbridge is saying it. Who gives a shit who's spreading the message? If you believe in the message, you got to back it. And this whole notion with the fan base or elitism, or if you don't go to a game and these top reds are better than you because at the game, you don't know what it's like being at the stadium. You can't have a say. I mean, the amount of times that's been replied to me when I've said something about X, Y, and Z. I mean, it's just getting boring. I
think this is one of the strongest reasons why I always say to people when we do the spaces on Twitter, I said, I only encourage people to do it because I feel like my intentions are correct. When I say, do what you're willing to do. I was willing to stop buying merch. Obviously, I'm a collector of United shirts, hence why you can see. But I had to be willing to delete apps. I had to be willing. And you know how hard it was to actually open up Man United's app and go delete it? Like, it was crazy because that's the emotional attachment now I have to my club and the passion. You know what I mean? And so blocking Manchester United, not because they follow me, because they don't. But what I'm saying to you is stop their traffic. Stop their traffic. Stop the algorithms. Don't focus on them. When you win, especially when we win, target the Man United out with Glazers out and sack the board after a win, because then it doesn't become about when they think, they're winning and we still can't shut them up. Like, that's how it's got to be. And as I said, only do what you're willing to do. I was willing to put my pride to one side, my passion, once I learned about my club and understood why we were struggling so much, and started to go, I'm part of the problem. I'm putting money into their pockets. They see me as a customer. I ain't going to be his customer no more. I'll always be a Man United fan, but I'll never be their customer. And that's how I look at it. And there's so many reasons why people go to games. It can be down to heritage and tradition of heritages of fans. Your dad, your mom, whatever, your granddad, and gets past that. I get it. If you're going to games, cool, but do what you can do. Do you have to go and spend £3.50 on a bottle of Coke? Would you mind just waiting till the end of the game? There's so much you can do to bring down the price. There's so much you can do. Match going fans and non-match going fans. Are you willing to, if you're a match going fan and you understand the club and you've taken time to understand it and you come and go, would you be prepared on 80th minute every home game to stand up and walk out the stadium? Would you be able? Do you know what I mean? What are you prepared to do? Forget everyone else. Forget what I'm doing. Forget what Jerry or Osman thinks he can do. What are you prepared to do for yourself? It doesn't need no validation from me or anyone else. What are you prepared to do? Because the moment they start seeing drops in percentages in terms of earnings, that's when they have to start listening. We did a campaign called Not a Penny More, where we targeted all the Man United sponsors. And I don't know if you've noticed, but it worked very well. We got if you've seen the training kit, we don't actually have a sponsor no more on the training kit.
Yeah, it's just plain.
Sponsors pulled out. And that was recent. That was as recent as this season. So Not a Penny More was basically we went to the Manchester United official website. You go to the cart and then you basically just put every bit of merchandise in there, £100, £200, £200, whatever you normally spend, and you leave it in the cart. And then you don't spend it. You don't pay for it. Don't do anything. You do the same on Google reviews. You go to Google, you give bad reviews. You type Glazers out because it's algorithms. Then you target is it Tag Her and Cadbury's and Adidas. You then do the same again, go on their website, put Manchester United merch into your basket, but don't buy it. It gives them a poor rating. And that's how they judge whether they're earning their money now.
Yeah, absolutely.
People think, if you don't buy a shirt, for example, let's say Jerry says to me, but Najee, if I don't buy a shirt, another 10 people are going to buy it. I just want you to understand the flaw in that logic and give some context. When we get a shirt deal, for example, let's say, Adidas say, right, there's 600 million, but I need you to sell 10 shirts. 10 is just a number, so it's just easy to understand. Yeah, it could be 100,000, regardless, whatever. But let's just go with the number 10, yeah? They will give that money as a sponsorship with guaranteed handshake going, we will definitely sell 10 shirts. So if we sell 8 shirts, Adidas go, you predicted these figures. You've not really backed it. This is what happened with the Not a Penny More as well. this isn't looking good. So then what happens is the season after is then they end up getting a 400 million deal, but it's off Joma or Donny or Puma. Yeah, and that's how it works. They have projected figures that they need to touch. That's how they make their money. If they don't, their contract clauses are out. So again, that's why I say forget about you actually looking at others saying, well, someone else will buy my season ticket. Keep the shares down, keep the prices and everything else going down. Because yes, if the Glazers earned 100 million this season, but then next season they made a profit of 80 million, although it's still a profit to them, that's 20 million loss. Understand their common goal is to literally use this as a cash cow. So to make as much money as they can out of the club, what's already there. So if they start to see that, the season after that, they've made a profit of 50 million, in 2 seasons, that's a 50 million pound profit drop. Obviously, the figure's going to be much more than that. They then have to start contemplating, why are the customers not buying? We buy Ronaldo, but they're still not buying shirts. We give them the best PR spin, but we're still not buying shirts. They literally have nothing left. And this is why the moment we bought Ronaldo, you see everyone outside the flipping megastore, they'd won. Because that was it then.
That was obviously world class on their part. Man. They just,
of course. They
hired,
what was his name? I can't remember his name. He was the head of the Sun.
Neil Ashton.
Yeah, and one of the biggest PR merchants in the world. That we are best for PR. We're not best for footballing reasons. Just understand why they've hired him. They know what they're doing. So they know they can get us on our nostalgia and emotions and go, right, this will shut them up so we're not getting no heat. And it's the same with all the rumors and stuff that you see on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, whatever. It's exactly the same. So you've really got to be open to how they are working, what their intentions are, and have that bit of try to find some willpower and emotional strength not to go and buy into the PR and the nostalgia. And I know it's difficult. This is why I say do what you're willing to do.
Isn't it? Like I'm like loads.
Yeah, I've got an alleged website that I get mine off now. So do you know what I mean? Like it's all good. Same with apparently there's alleged streaming. I don't know if you've heard about that, but like do you know what I mean? There's mad stuff.
Yeah,
allegedly these things are out there. I mean, I haven't seen any yet, but if you know of any, then it is what it is. So
I know, I mean, I wonder how we were watching that 3 o'clock game.
Watford, didn't it?
That's what I'm saying, man.
I'm just gonna have to vision what happens. But listen, Najee, thank you for obviously breaking it down. Everyone in the comments.
All love, man.
Yeah, just very quickly got some people with a funny comment. Yeah, Big Ron, why don't we all support another football team that teacher Glazers? I know Big Ron is somewhat skeptical regarding that. To be fair, he did make a very good point. If I can find it. Basically saying, I can't find it, but basically saying the Glazers signed Varane, Ronaldo, Sancho, and obviously it's not worked out. I mean, for me, that's one of the best winners we've had post Fergie. You could argue the Pogba one was Latin was probably better either or. But it's bigger than just signing those players. I mean, at the end of the day, they're quite clearly accepting mediocrity via Oli, keeping him in the job when he's quite evidently not capable of taking us to levels that we believe best fit the club. So for me personally, although they did back hit the transfer window, there's no denying that. There's a bigger picture to be looked at. End of the day, Tottenham Hotspur have shown more ambition than us, as have Norwich, as of Aston Villa, who've all sacked their manager. I mean, I'm not going to bring Watford into there because they sacked their manager. If they look a certain way at fans, but they're a mad club. But those 3 clubs, Norwich, I mean, I suppose they were destined to get relegated. But Villa in particular, Dean Smith had a good season last season, by all accounts, for Aston Villa. This season, I mean, he's been nowhere near up to scratch for what they aspire to be, which is that top 10, for example. And Oli falls under that category for Manchester United. They've sacked their manager. You look at Tottenham Hotspur, they've had a manager for 8 games. He's just come into the job. They sacked him, they realised they made a mistake, and they've bit the bullet. The Glazers, on the other hand, are just become enablers of this toxic sort of fan base, because a lot of the fans, I would say 90% plus, know that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is not good enough for Manchester United. Even our rival fans have now gotten to the point like, okay, the Glazers are actually taking the piss. The fact that he's still there, okay, it was funny, and they still take the piss out of us. But deep down, even our rivals fans are shocked at how bored are in terms of really, showing that ambition that they would expect from Man United with a very good team as well. So for me, just to answer that question, because you were speaking from the other perspective, and I didn't want to obviously ignore that, because obviously everyone's opinions are valid. I'm just going to wrap it up there, because obviously we've discussed everything we need to discuss. Just before we go, I just want to get a quick score prediction from the guys regarding the Watford game. So, Jerry, we'll come to you first. So what do you reckon?
I don't know what Watford's going to turn up, man. Obviously, they banged Everton 5-2, and then I don't think they've won a game since. So, and Josh King against Maguire, it could be a sticky one, but I want to go 3-1 United. I think Ronaldo not qualifying, he's going to be pissed, and he's going to unleash on them. So, yeah, clean sheet, yeah, that's not happening. So I'm going 3-1 United.
Fair. And Najee, what are you saying quickly?
Oh, I hate to say it, I really do. For the purpose of the show, I'm going to say 2-1. But when just know that when we stop going live, yeah, I'm going to say it right now. It's going to be 1-1. It's going to be 1-1.
Okay, wow. Okay, I mean, I'm coming with the perspective of we're going to absolutely slap them. And all the Ollie in fanboys are going to come out their caves and say, you trust your man in the back, your man, the Ollie's at the wheel. You know, have faith, people can turn it around. Result against these lot and Chelsea, and everyone will completely forget the notion.
That's my biggest worry.
Listen, we got Villarreal in between. People just skip over that game. Like,
I've given up on the Champions League because this guy's going to get us. This guy's going to get us out of the Champions League, and then he's going to get sacked. We're going to be in the Europa League, and then people are going to be like,
imagine Ronaldo playing Europa League.
Bro, if we go into Europa League, honestly, Champions League Varane is no more. That is embarrassing, bro.
You know how many fans are going to come for us singing Europa League Varane?
Oh,
do you know how many fans are going to do that,
bro? That's going to be so. That is,
bro. You won't find me. Trust me.
I'm cutting that.
We legit find new levels of embarrassing ourselves. But listen, that is the end of the show. What a great note to finish off. Make sure you slap a like on the video if you've enjoyed it. Obviously, subscribe to the channel. Obviously, follow everyone's socials. They are down below. Make sure you follow Jerry on his social, etc. And obviously Najee as well. But as we always do, Jerry, first and foremost, over to you. Where can the people follow you? And just shout yourself out.
Twitter handles on the screen, as you can see. Obviously regular on this channel, Usman Talks United.
Yes.
Got my own channel with my brothers. I do United Team Talk on YouTube, so make sure you check that out. And yeah, man, we're back. We're back to Premier League action. Listen, I'm excited, man. Like I said in the group, I'm just excited to watch the Leicester Chelsea game and Arsenal Liverpool games. Just 3 games, and yeah, I'm
said he's excited. You're excited for football. You're not excited for football. Yeah, let's clarify that. Let's clarify that. Man's excited to watch. You know what? I'm excited to watch that, and I'm gonna be fucking as shameless as I possibly can. So if Chelsea or whoever lose, I'm gonna be. I mean, the Arsenal one. If we get a result, the Arsenal Liverpool is a win-win for us. We either banter Liverpool fans or we banter Arsenal fans. So hopefully that'll be a good one. But Najee, let the people know where to come find you, my brother.
Yeah, man, nice and simple, man. Sunshine47, Sunshine with it, also SONSHINE space 47 on YouTube. Got some wicked content coming by the start of January, so I'm excited. But I can't say much now, so I'll get you man involved. But yeah, got some wicked content, some fresh ideas for that. And obviously on Twitter is where most of the Man United chat goes down. You'll catch me in some Twitter spaces. I run Twitter spaces, so by all means, if you're listening, come and have your say. Again, Sunshine47. But that's all obviously one word and numbers together. That's me, man.
Yes. Love. Like I said, everyone's socials are down below, including mine. Obviously, you can follow all of us. Obviously, keep up to date with obviously Najee, what he's doing on Twitter Spaces. Like he said, he runs that shit. He said it basically. We didn't say it, but obviously, he does a lot of spaces. So make sure you check him out. Then obviously, Jerry doing fantastic content. Obviously, Jerry's at the wheel with his FIFA stuff. Regarding our channel, I don't think there's going to be a video tomorrow because I got quite a bit of work.
Jerry's about to get slapped on FIFA. Sorry.
Yeah, no, by all means, I would love to see Jerry he gets slapped anyway in his screen, but it is where it is. I mean, Jerry, some say the fans are calling for his head, but we can't stop.
Listen, we're still there, man.
I might have to do Osman reacts to Jerry's show, if you think. I'm not going to lie. But, so I'm rambling on. Yeah, make sure you check us out on Saturday. I believe we're going to do watch along and a match reaction to our game against Watford, and then on Sunday we'll have some more content. Apart from that, it's been your boy Osman. It's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you everyone in the comments. Thank you for getting involved, and we'll see you guys